You want to take your Minecraft from looking like this to this? Well, you've come to the right place. I'll be sharing with you step-by-step instructions from installing the shaders themselves, the required mods to run them, and then how to optimize and customize the shaders using my favorite settings. I've included links for everything you need in the description and time-stamped all the different steps, so feel free to jump right to the section you need. Now, the first thing we need to do is check the version of Minecraft you're running and make sure that everything we download is for that exact version. So the first thing we need is the Fabric API to run all the mods and shaders. So you want to click the link below in the description. It'll take you right to this page. So this is the Fabric API page on the CurseForge website. Now, I always go to the file section, and that's where the link should take you. The first thing you're going to want to look at, which we discussed earlier, is the game version. So in our case, we need 1.20.1. And typically, I look to download the one that has the most downloads. That's usually the correct one to download for most of these mods that we're going to go through. So you'll simply click on this, hit download, and then it'll download into your downloads page. And then while we're here, we're going to want to download all the other required mods and the shaders themselves before we jump into Minecraft itself. Then we'll jump over to Sodium, and we will download the latest Sodium release that we have for 1.20.1. This one's got 118,000 downloads, so this is the one you'll want to hit here. You click download. The next thing we'll need is Indium, and this is another one on the CurseForge website. Again, we need 1.20.1. Then we'll need Continuity, which is to make the glass look a lot better with the shaders, which we'll get into later. Iris shaders is the last mod we'll need, and then we need the complementary shaders themselves. And an important note with these complementary shaders is I like to use the version 4.7.2, as I think these are the best looking complementary shaders. After testing the 5.0, the 4.6, the 4.5, I basically tested all of these shaders, and I still think 4.7.2 are the best looking ones. Okay, so as you can see, I've moved the Fabric file and all the mods as well as the complementary shaders that I downloaded to my desktop. First thing that we're going to want to do is run the Fabric installer. So you'll double click this, it'll open a pop-up. And then what you want to do is select the Minecraft version. It's going to default to the latest, which in this case is 1.20.2. We are running 1.20.1. So then you'll click that. You want to create a profile. Make sure the location is as expected, which should be the .minecraft folder, and then you'll hit install. That'll take a few seconds to run, and once that is done, we can fire up the new Minecraft launcher. And when you go into the new Minecraft launcher, you can click this drop down over here for the release that you want to do, and you should see the Fabric loader, the 1.20.1 in this case, or whatever version that you downloaded. You'll want to select that, and then you'll want to hit play. And while this is preparing, we're basically just hitting play to make sure that the game loads correctly and confirming that everything works. Okay, so we're in Minecraft. Everything looks good. We're in the Minecraft 1.20.1 with the Fabric. Okay, let's exit out. So now what you want to do is you want to hit the Windows key plus R and type in %appdata%, and you'll hit OK. This will take you to your file folder. You'll want to go and click on the .minecraft folder, and you'll want to go to the mods folder. As you can see, I have a number of mods already in here, but you want to take all of these mods that you have downloaded and put them into this folder here. Now go back to the .minecraft folder, go down to the shader packs folder and put in the complementary shaders 4.7.2 zip folder right into this file here. And then you can close out of here and we can go back into Minecraft. Okay, so I've just logged into Citanize server. You can see we don't have any shaders on, and the glass textures are vanilla, not connected. So the first thing we want to do is let's make these glass textures connected. So go into options, resource packs, and you will have the default connected textures and the glass pane culling fix from the continuity that we have. So just click the play button on both of these, hit done, and those should load in. Now you can see that we have the glass textures connected. Next thing is to turn on the shaders. So go into options, video settings. You'll notice this looks different than your typical video settings. This is because of Sodium. And so I have a couple settings that I've already changed in here. Feel free to play around with this based on your computer performance. I'm running a 3070, so I have a fairly powerful graphics card. So typically I run between 24 and 32 chunks render distance. Feel free to mess with the frame rate. I have my max frame rate set at 60, as that's how I like to record Minecraft when I'm running OBS and other recording software, but feel free to crank this up to unlimited and whatever other settings you would like here. Nothing in here really pertains to affecting the shaders themselves. This is more just personal preference stuff in all of these here. Jump into the shader pack settings. You'll want to select the complementary shaders version 4.7.2, which we downloaded, and hit apply. Okay, we have shaders on, and this is what your game should look like. Now let me dive into all the individual tweaks that I make with the complementary shader settings, take it looking like this to this. Okay, we'll start by going into options, video settings, shader pack settings. Okay, the first thing we're going to want to look at is the RP support. Now I have it on integrated PBR plus. This is basically the best. It'll make everything look as realistic as possible, especially when we go into some of the other settings. If you're concerned about performance, you'll probably just want to go to basic, but depending on your computer and likely if you're looking at these shaders, you can afford to do the integrated PBR plus. Let's jump into the first set of settings, which is going to be materials. First thing we're going to want to do is go into integrated PBR settings. And the first thing we're going to want to turn on is auto generated normals. This is going to give texture to all the individual blocks, especially like the gold blocks, the iron blocks, the diamond blocks. Now we'll quickly just go into the emissive ore settings. All these are going to be on for the overworld at default, but I like to turn on the ones for the nether as well, which will just make the ancient debris and the different nether ores, the golden nuggets, nether quartz, all have a nice shine to them. Okay, let's hit apply, and we'll just go all the way back to the main settings here. And that's everything in the materials. Let's jump over to the sky settings. Now, the first thing we're going to want to do is go to the overworld sky color. This is an absolute game changer. So we'll change the red multiplier all the way down to 0, the green multiplier set to 120. And then when you hit apply, it's basically going to take the sky color from a dull kind of light baby blue to a really vibrant blue color, which just really enhances the overall look of the game. Now feel free to play around with these slightly, as in bringing up the red slightly, bringing up the green slightly, if you want to just have a different shade of blue. But generally I like to have these exact settings to get that really, really bright blue color. Now, the next thing we're going to want to do is go into the cloud settings. Now, for the cloud thickness, I like to turn the cloud thickness up to about 7, maybe 8. This is just going to give the clouds a more full look. And then we'll just turn up the cloud brightness to about 2.5 here as well. And we can hit apply. Okay, that's everything in cloud settings. Now, while we're here, we're going to go into night sky settings. We're going to make sure that we have the shader star amount set to high, and more importantly, galaxies on. And then I like to turn galaxy brightness up to 2.5, and that's going to take the night sky from looking really, really boring to a nice vibrant night sky with bright stars and bright galaxies. Now, just a quick mention while we're in here, there's this sun/moon path rotation. So this is basically where you can change the angle of the sun. You can swing it from -40 to +40, and that's going to change it basically 180 degrees of where the sun is. So if you want to take a shot of a build with the sun directly on it, you can play around with this angle here till that sun's just at the right angle for your build. Also, while we're here, aurora borealis settings. So you're going to want to make sure these are on. And then the first thing that I do is turn off the biome check. So this makes sure that you can see the aurora borealis in all the biome. And then I turn off the full moon check, which means you can see the aurora borealis pretty much every night in every biome and not just during a full moon. And that's pretty much all I do. Okay, that's done with the sky settings. Let's jump into lighting. So the first thing I like to do is crank up the cave lighting to 128. This is going to make it a lot easier to see when you're going deep caving, exploring uncharted areas, and just going to make everything a lot easier to see. And more importantly, those pesky creepers. Now, a really important thing we want to change here is scene aware color lighting. Now, when you turn this on, it's going to give each of the individual light emitting blocks a hue that matches the color of that block. So for example, the crying obsidian is going to be a nice purple glow. The sea lantern is going to be a very white glow. All the frog lights will have their individual color glow that represents the color of the blocks. And this just adds to the immersion tenfold. That's pretty much everything here. And we can go into the world settings. So the first thing I want to do in the world settings is go to the outline settings. Now, I don't like to change this too much, but I turn on the alternative outline settings. And then I just turn this up to 2 here. So if I do that, hit apply, basically just crispens up all the edges of the blocks. It's a very subtle change. Next up, fog settings. I do not like the atmospheric fog or the border fog, so I instantly turn both those off. So this just makes it so in the overworld, if you're looking down a deep hole, there's no fog at the bottom. If you're looking out into the horizon, there's no fog. Now let's jump into the water settings. The first three settings you're going to want to turn on here are the water refraction, the projected caustics, and the water absorption. This is just going to make the water look a lot better in my opinion. You'll be able to see into it a little further and just gives it a nice look. Now, I hate when you're underwater and can see fog. So what I do, I just crank this underwater fog distance all the way up, and then I turn the underwater distortion down. This is just going to give you great visibility and not have a distorted view when you're building underwater. Now, while we're in here, we're going to go into the water wave settings. And what we'll do is we'll just turn on the water displacement. This is going to make it so when water is at the edge of a block, you'll actually be able to see the waves of the water moving on the block, and it's not just going to be a straight line of water. And then one more bonus setting that I like to do is go into post-process, and then I like to change this image sharpening from 0 all the way up to 5. This is just going to give all the blocks, especially the ones further in the distance, a nice crisp look, and I think just sharpens up the overall picture of the world. If you liked any of the builds you saw today, be sure to check out our channel memberships for a world download, as well as multiple schematic downloads for some of the coolest builds in our world. And thanks to all our existing channel members. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you found this video super useful, and be sure to check out our last video where we built a super cool mega base at spawn.